in my previous life. Since I was the eldest brother's wife, the only thing my husband ever taught me was yield. After my younger brother-in-law died, he told me to yield. So it was my sister-in-law Snow who followed him to his workplace. When the children grew up, he also said I should yield. So Snow's two children both got into the public sector, because of River's connections. They receive a monthly retirement cash of 10 to 20,000, and yuan and enjoy the best medical care. While my children can only toil in the fields. I know my children resent me too. On one hand, they resent that I can't hold my husband's heart. On the other hand, they do their best to please Snow's family. Even on my 80th birthday, they all seemed to have amnesia and went to celebrate Snow's birthday. I was so angry that I rushed over and overturned the table. At the moment I collapsed due to a heart attack. I unwillingly saw everyone surrounding Snow, for fear that she might be frightened. In this new life, I choose to simply give River away. I had been waiting at the post office entrance for 3 hours. The moment the post office opened, I rushed in. "Hello. My name is Luna. Do you have any registered mail for me?" My hands, which were at my sides, couldn't help but tremble. "Comrade Luna?" My hands couldn't help but clench at my sides. "Why yes. Here's the registered mail. Please sign for it." I signed my name neatly and formally. I walked home quickly. "Mommy. I'm hungry." A little tot rushed over and hugged my thigh tightly. My expression softened a bit. But I still went to the kitchen and steamed a bowl of egg custard for her. This month's meat coupons were all sent by River to Snow's house next door. He seemed to have forgotten that there were a wife and children to support at home. He only had Snow and her children in his eyes. Seeing my daughter eating the egg custard at the table, I went into the room. The registered mail was from my teacher. In my previous life, I also received an invitation letter from my teacher. He invited me to join his team to support the border areas. The classmates who went to support the border areas with the teacher and came back 3 years later all had good prospects afterward. But in just 10 days, River would come back. He told me that as the eldest brother's wife, I should be understanding. My younger brother worked so hard to support his studies back, and that he got tuberculosis. Otherwise, he wouldn't have passed away so early. This was what he owed Snow's family. He said I was good in every way, and he was very don't worry. Unlike Snow, who was weak and would definitely have a hard time raising children alone. So he wanted to take her with him to work. At that time, I was shocked and couldn't understand. But after being married for several years, I had already been persuaded by River into a fool. I thought my husband was everything. So I endured my unwillingness and shame and raised the children alone. And I gave up the plan to support the border areas. At first, he still sent back food coupons and meat coupons. But gradually, there was no news. It was only later that I learned that after Snow followed him, he was worried that Snow would treat herself as an outsider and be too polite to spend money. So he gave all of his monthly money to Snow. He even entrusted the matter of sending food coupons and meat coupons to her. At first, Snow would send some back, but later she simply embezzled them all. Many years later, when questioned, she just said, "Was the money sent out?" River just let the matter go lightly. But at that time, River had already cultivated Snow's children and they both had good jobs. While my son didn't even have a formal job, and my daughter, because of poor nutrition and a weak body, dropped out of school early and got married. My children lived in poverty all their lives. While Snow's children not only received tens of thousands of yuan in retirement pensions after retirement but also had a glorious family. My children resented me for being incompetent on one hand and fawned over Snow's family on the other. Until I died, no one even gave me a glance. No one knew that I was reborn. In my previous life, soon after I received the registered mail, River came back. He said he wanted to take Snow with him to work and asked me to be polite and understanding. Since then, he left me to take care of our 2 children and his parents. I declined the teacher's invitation. That was a regret of my whole life. I gently stroked the invitation letter in my hand. Then I quickly packed my luggage. In this life, not only will I go to support the border areas, but I will also leave my 2 ungrateful children to River. Does he want to take Snow and her 2 children to work with him? Dreaming. After packing my luggage, I carried my daughter and went next door. As soon as I entered Snow's house, I smelled the aroma of meat. A widow, with no job and no source of income. Yet she could often afford to eat meat and buy new clothes. Of course, this was the credit of my good husband. In my previous life, I always felt that what River owed his younger brother, I also owed his younger brother. So although I was very uncomfortable with River constantly giving the family's money to Snow, I never made a fuss. But what I got in return was a life of poverty and hardship, while she enjoyed all the blessings with my man. I carried my daughter out and saw Snow chatting with several neighbors at the street corner. Snow was wearing a brand new blue polyester shirt, a pair of black trousers, and a black bow on her head. People who didn't know might think she was a teacher from some school. Seeing me coming with my daughter, Snow paused before saying, "Sister-in-law?" In my previous life, at first, I was uncomfortable with her and didn't want to talk to her. Later, I hated her. I hated her for being like a vine, clinging tightly to River and sucking away the nutrients that belonged to our mother-child family. Snow probably also knew my feelings. So although we lived next door to each other, we rarely met. I looked Snow up and down and didn't say a word. No. Even the aunts from several neighboring houses found it strange. "Luna, what's wrong with you?" "Yeah, why are you looking at Snow like that?" I pursed my lips and then looked at Snow. "Did River send you food coupons and meat coupons again?" As soon as I asked, Snow's face changed. "Sis," went out a low sigh. "Sister-in-law." The several neighbors looked at me in surprise and then at Snow. I said coldly, "My children haven't eaten a single piece of meat for 2 months. Just now, I smelled that you were cooking meat at home. Did River send you food coupons and meat coupons again?" My words made Snow instantly flustered. No, that was borrowed from someone." I looked at her and sneered. "But someone's or River's letter to you." Then I paused. 2 letters every month. My words successfully made the expressions of the aunts become very interesting. In fact, it was only a long time later that I learned that River did send me food coupons, meat coupons, and even money. But he thought that if he sent them to me, Snow hadn't fulfilled my obsa, as the younger brother's wife, would be too embarrassed to ask me for them. So he directly sent the food coupons and meat coupons to Snow first and then asked Snow to bring them to me. But she never brought them. Her husband had been dead for 3 years. In these 3 years, River sent her money and various coupons every month, while I, his legitimate wife, didn't get a single cent. Snow didn't expect that I would know about this matter. In her opinion, even if I knew, I had my own pride and would definitely not admit defeat and go to her. Because once I went to her, it meant that I admitted that in River's heart, my status was inferior to hers. Because, look, obviously, having self-to say, I was River's wife. But he took care of Snow and everything. Now that I really came to her, it was something Snow didn't expect. I don't want to care about the affairs between Snow and River. But what should be mine? I will get back every cent. I didn't give her a chance to argue. I continued, "I know that in the 3 years since your husband passed away, River has sent money and coupons to your home every month. And you haven't given me a single cent of it." Snow looked at me. Just as she was about to speak, I interrupted her again. I said, "I don't care what shady things there are between you and River. But you have to return every cent of the money and coupons that belong to me. Otherwise, I will definitely report you to the police for adultery." My words almost made Snow's body sway. "Sister-in-law, it's not like that. I didn't." "Not like what? What didn't you do? Is it that you didn't receive River's money and coupons? Or that you don't have an affair with him?" "I don't want to care about your affairs. But the money and coupons, you must make them all up to me tonight. Otherwise, I will report to the police tomorrow." I turned around and left with my daughter in my arms. Hey, sister-in-law. Sister-in-law. Back home, I steamed several potatoes and was going to make potato pancakes for dinner. In the years when River was not at home, I had to take care of the children and also worked as a medicine and grabbing clerk in a medical hall. Because I could read and was very quick-handed, So even though sometimes I needed to take leave due to family matters, the medical hall didn't fire me. I earned this money to support the 2 children. Although I decided to leave the 2 children to River. After all, before he came back, I still had the obligation to take good care of the 2 children. My son had been at my in-laws' house for the past few days, so I only cooked meals for my daughter and me in the evening. I waited until after 9 o'clock, but I didn't see Snow come. I thought she was being stubborn and was about to report them to the police tomorrow. Unexpectedly, a little after 10 o'clock, the door of the house was suddenly opened from the outside. I put on my clothes and came out to take a look. I saw River, who looked much younger, carrying a bundle and walking in with Snow. Snow smiled when she saw me looking over. Big sister-in-law, I forgot to tell you that big brother will come back early today. She paused and then said, you don't need to cook. Big brother has already eaten at my place. Seeing my ugly expression, she quickly looked at River in a panic and waved her hands as if to explain. Sister-in-law, don't misunderstand. Junlin hadn't seen his uncle for a long time. As soon as he saw his uncle come back, he wouldn't let go. Big brother also loves the child, so he stayed at my place until now. You mustn't. I looked at River and didn't say a word. River put down his things and comforted the flustered Snow. It's okay. Your big sister-in-law is not a narrow-minded person. You go back first. Later, if Junlin doesn't see you, he will make a fuss. Snow looked at me, hesitated to speak. Big brother, if big sister-in-law makes a fuss later, you mustn't. Snow looked at me and then at River again before leaving. I turned around and was about to go back to my room. River looked at me. Shall we talk? I stopped in my tracks and nodded. We sat facing each other across a table. I watched River remain silent for quite a while. Just as I was about to get up and leave, he finally raised his head. Luna, did you go to cause trouble for Snow today? I thought his silence was because he was thinking about how to explain to me why, for all these years, he had been sending money and ration tickets to Snow. But I never expected that he would question me instead. Before I could say anything, River added, do you know how people will look at your sister-in-law because of the things you said today? I laughed. You mean that for 3 years? You ignored your family, not caring about your wife and children's food and drink at home. Instead, you let that woman outside live a life of plenty, and even raise someone else's child. You can do all these things, but I can't talk about them? River didn't expect that I would say such things. His face looked ugly. What woman outside? She's my younger brother's wife. Your sister-in-law. So what? I asked. River seemed to be trying his best to hold back his anger and patiently explained to me. My younger brother supported me when I was studying. I owe them. I looked at him and felt that the person in front of me was extremely strange. Yes, you have debts. But you shouldn't drag me and our family into paying off your debts. 1. Went out a low sigh. You could have chosen not to get married and gone to be a servant for your younger brother and sister, raising their children. 2. It's not too late for you to divorce me now and marry Snow. But you shouldn't drag me and the children into paying off your debts for you. River, people can't be this selfish. Luna, what are you talking about? What? Me divorcing you and you marrying Snow? Is this what a sister-in-law like you should say? I was so angry. You also know that I'm just a sister-in-law? I'm not her mother. And definitely not your mother. I don't owe you anything. So you married me and had children with me just to get one more slave, and a few more slaves to pay off your debts with you? Are we going to make way for your kindness? For your Snow? And for your nephew for the rest of our lives? Giving them everything isn't enough, and I can't even have any complaints? Should I even set up a longevity tablet for them? Worship them 3 times a day? Tell me. River opened his mouth. Luna, I thought you were understanding and could understand me. But I never thought that you would be so petty. I stood up abruptly. That's right. I'm not understanding. I'm petty. For these 3 years, you've abandoned your wife and children and supported that woman outside. Do you really think you've done nothing wrong? If you think you're right, then sorry. I can go to your unit and ask your leader to judge you. River also stood up. Luna? I haven't been back for 3 years. As soon as I come back, you want to quarrel with me? I snorted coldly. If you don't want me to quarrel with you or go to your unit to make trouble, then make up for all the money and ration tickets of these 3 years to me. Otherwise, we'll meet at your unit tomorrow. I went back to the room, threw another set of bedding into the utility room, and then locked the door. I just want to get what I deserve. As for when he comes back, why his wife, don't know when he's coming back. Well, Snow knows it clearly. Even though our home is next door, he can come back and stay at his sister-in-law's house for 5 or 6 hours without even coming to take a look at our home. I don't want to care about all these things. Really. These things have happened too many times in my previous life. All the anger and tears that should have been shed, I've already experienced them in my previous life. In this life, let him do whatever he wants. Early the next morning, I went to resign from my job. The shopkeeper originally wanted to persuade me to stay, but when he heard that I was going to leave here, he could only agree. And surprisingly, he even gave me a red envelope when I left. Luna, the journey ahead is long and arduous. You must take good care of yourself. You know, I've worked here for 3 years. The usually stern shopkeeper unexpectedly almost made me cry before I left. What long and arduous journey? River's figure entered from outside. The shopkeeper looked at me. This is. My face turned cold, the children's father. The shopkeeper glanced at River. And seeing me shake my head, he just greeted River casually and was then called away by a customer. River looked at me. What were you two talking about? I put away the wages and the red envelope given by the shopkeeper and turned to walk out. River caught up and grabbed me. Luna, I'm sorry. You've worked hard these 3 years. I shook off his hand. So what? River was stunned for a moment. Luna, I'm sorry. Maybe I really didn't do well enough before. But in the future, I will definitely treat you better. I sneered. Treat me better means taking Snow away and leaving me alone. Living like a widow? Suddenly thinking of the purpose of his return this time, I asked, did you come back this time to take Snow away? River seemed not to expect that I would know about this. His eyes were flustered. And he looked around. You. What are you talking about? I said. Did you come back this time to take Snow away? I didn't mind repeating it. River couldn't avoid the question. Having fulfilled my obsession. I'm not. Oh, I just thought so. How could you do such a shameless thing? How could you think of taking your sister-in-law to live with you? Right? My words made River suddenly look up. Luna, what are you talking about? Just a few years apart. Why do you talk like a shrew? So harshly? So, you really are going to take Snow away? My words made River fall silent for a moment. Finally, hadn't so felt my sigh. He sighed. Luna, it's not easy for Snow to raise a child alone. My younger brother is no longer here. She's my responsibility now. Do you understand? You're my wife. I hope you can understand me. Okay? Seeing that I didn't speak, he added. Luna, I know it's not easy for you. You've worked hard taking care of the children all these years. But believe me, once I get settled there, I will definitely take you there. Okay? River took out the money and ration tickets from his pocket and said anxiously, Luna, I know you must be resentful, but you have to understand me. If I send all the money and ration tickets to you, with Snow's personality, do you think she would accept your money? And I'm your man. If I send the money to her and she gives it to you, isn't it better? Then she won't be embarrassed to accept your money. I didn't expect that over the years. To avoid your misunderstanding, she actually gave the rest of the money to Mom. I suddenly looked up. River was still explaining. I've already asked Mom. Mom said she thought I had sent you other money. So she kept those. Luna, it's my fault. It's me. I didn't listen to the rest of River's words. I know this is an excuse made up by their family. They're just afraid that I will really go to his unit today and expose the fact that he ignored his family for 3 years but sent all the money to his sister-in-law's house. I watched River explain without any sense of guilt. My heart felt extremely cold. After all, he's their own son. Even though they know how hard my life has been these 3 years. Not only turn a blind eye, but now even collude with Snow. To deceive me. I went to River's parents' house with him. As soon as we entered the door, we saw Snow sitting there, lowering her head and wiping her tears. When they saw me, my in-laws looked at me unkindly. I heard from River that you're going to make trouble at his unit? Nonsense. My father-in-law slapped his chopsticks on the table with a snap. He's working hard outside. And this is how you bite the hand that feeds you? Do you want to ruin him? Slinging mud at your own man and sister-in-law. You have no shame. But our old River family does. Don't you think about it? You can't even raise your own son well. If it weren't for Snow thinking of your son whenever there's something good to eat at home these years, would your son be so lively? I never knew that someone could be so shameless yet so self-righteous. Obviously, having fulfilled my sorry. Everything Snow ate and drank was earned by my man. But did my son eat meat at her house a few times, and it became a great kindness? Although my mother-in-law didn't say anything, she also looked at me disapprovingly. Even my son rushed over and hit me. Mom is bad. You bully Dante. Bad mom. Bad mom. My son got along well with Snow's child. As soon as he saw my son hitting me, Snow's child also rushed up. The half-grown boy looked small, but his fists were quite strong. It hurt when he hit. I stood there numbly, letting my son's small fists hit me. River pulled my son and Snow's child aside and sighed. Luna, you really misunderstood me and my sister-in-law. But I know you didn't mean it. Apologize to your sister-in-law. She's magnanimous and won't mind. Snow quickly dried her tears and looked at me. Sister-in-law, I'm sorry. I know you misunderstood me. It's my fault. I shouldn't have taken Big Brother's money. Big Brother just took pity on our mother and son and took care of us. Sister-in-law, don't be angry, okay? I'll take the child back to my parents' home. I'll never get in your way in the future. No. I don't want Auntie to leave. Bad mom. You go away. I looked at the people in the room and suddenly laughed. In my previous life, River took Snow and her child away, leaving me with two children and having to take care of my increasingly elderly in-laws. But what did I get in the end? The resentment of the children. Decades of living like a widow. On my birthday, I was so angry that I died. I looked at the people in the room and nodded. For these 3 years, River sent 2 letters to Snow every month, along with money and ration tickets. I was like a widow, raising my own child alone. This time he came back. Surely you all know that he's going to take Snow away. Your River family cares about face, yet they let him do such despicable things. Making his dirty deeds of always thinking about his sister-in-law sound so noble. I looked at Snow, whose face was ugly. Are you very proud? After all, my man has been thinking about you all the time. He even wants to support you instead of his own wife and children. I turned to look at my in-laws. Actually, I feel disgusted. You watch your son thinking about the widow of your other son. Have you ever thought about how your deceased son would feel if he saw this? You probably think I'm in the way, hindering the relationship between your good daughter-in-law and River, right? Otherwise, why would you speak for River even though you clearly know that he has ignored our mother and son for 3 years? My in-laws' faces changed. I looked at River again. No matter how much you say, you can't cover up the fact that you have your eyes on your sister-in-law. I turned around, originally wanting to leave, but I still turned to look at my son. If you think Auntie is so good, then let Auntie be your mom. I ignored the furious voices of my in-laws behind me. Nor did I pay attention to River's flustered shouts. I went back home and took out the packed bundles. When I went out, I happened to see several aunts chatting idly together. Seeing me, they were taken aback. Luna? What are you? I couldn't hold back my tears. Aunties. Am I really wrong? Have I really been wrong all these years? Seeing me cry, someone hurriedly asked me what was wrong. My tears fell patter-patter, you know. I didn't even know the day my husband came back yesterday. It was Snow who knew it early and cooked a table of dishes waiting for him. He clearly arrived home at 5 or 6 o'clock, but I didn't see him until almost 10 o'clock at night. I also found out yesterday that my husband has been sending money to the neighbor next door twice a month. But in these 3 years, I haven't seen a single cent. You all know that I've had a really tough time raising the children alone in these 3 years. The aunts indignantly scolded along with me. and the fire of gossip in their eyes burned brightly. I paused while crying and then said again, "You don't know that my husband told me that he came back this time to take Snow away." "What?" Someone couldn't stand it now. "Take a sister-in-law away." "Take her where?" I wiped away my tears and pretended to be strong. "He said that his sister-in-law has had a hard time raising the children alone." "What kind of talk is that? If the sister-in-law has had a hard time, hasn't his own wife?" I shook my head. "Forget it. Let him do as he pleases." Although Snow has been supported by my husband for 3 years. But my in-laws still say that I owe Snow. And that the meat my son ate was given by Snow. Yes. I'm not capable. In these 3 years, I've raised 2 children and couldn't afford to buy meat very often. He was so hungry. Someone exchanged a look. Indeed. I can often smell the aroma of cooked meat wafting from Snow's house. I even asked her once. And she said it was sent by her the wife's parents' home. TSK. So she was stealing from the legitimate wife and children. TSK. She's not afraid of being struck by lightning. Such a sin. Such a thing happened right under our noses. Someone else saw my luggage, Luna? Are you leaving? I wiped away my tears. I think that if I leave, he and Snow can be together openly. I said sadly. Someone tried to persuade me. Oh. How can this be? The children are still young. You should think of the children. Children without a mother are very pitiful. Yes, heading for so why says. For the sake of the children. Endure it. When the children grow up, they will always understand the hardships of their mother. I shook my head, picked up my luggage, covered my mouth, and ran away sadly. In my previous life, I really endured everything for the sake of the children. I thought everything I did was for the children. But on the day I died, I realized that motherly love is not omnipotent. Money. That's what matters. For 5 years, I worked conscientiously. 3 years ago, most of my classmates left. Even the teacher left in the 4th year. But I stayed and even entered a national key classified project. I stayed there for 10 years. The moment the missile we developed took off, I felt that all of this was worth it. The project team gave me a 1-week vacation. When I walked back into the alley, the ants at the street corner saw me first. Are you Luna? I nodded. Many people came up to me. Luna, where have you been all these years? Yeah? We only heard that you send money home every month, but there's never a word from you. Have you made a fortune? I was wearing a stylish printed shirt, a pleated skirt, and high-heeled shoes. In their eyes, I was like a modern girl in a magazine. To leave a good impression on the 2 children, I had really dressed myself up before coming back. Before I could speak, I saw someone looking at me in shock. Luna? I looked up and saw River. 10 years ago. When I left, I still handed in a report letter to River's unit. Although he wasn't completely brought down, he was indeed transferred back. Well, now he works locally. And he doesn't have to take Snow thousands of miles away just to show understanding for her hardships. Mommy. As soon as I entered the door, 2 children, one big and one small, came up to me. There was no sense of estrangement from not seeing each other for 10 years at all. Oh, that's because after I left, I entrusted the neighbors to give money to the children every month. The neighbors felt very sorry for me leaving in such sadness. Plus, trailblazer say, I sent money back every month, and everyone said I was a good mother. Even whenever they had time, I would tell the 2 children that their mother loved them very much. I sent back a lot of money every month. Even in my letters, I entrusted the neighbors to keep half of the money and buy some meat to cook for the children. And neighbors could use the money to improve their family's food and be a good person at the same time. Why not? I gave the gifts I bought to the children. After being affectionate with the children for a while, only River and I were left in the living room. I heard that after all these years, he still didn't end up with Snow. I heard that after I left, Snow was pointed at and talked about. The matter made a big fuss, and Snow was taken back by her the wife's parents' home. She soon married a widower. That widower disliked Snow for having 2 dependents and not being able to have children. So he often beat her. Once, he even broke her leg. now she walks with a limp. I heard that River has been waiting for me all these years. I also heard that it hasn't been easy for him to take care of his parents these years. And both old people passed away last year. The neighbors said that River has had a hard time. Someone persuaded him to find another one. Since I haven't come back for so many years, I must have someone else outside. But he didn't agree. He said that he would definitely wait for me to come back, but this time I came back. I came back to get a divorce. Originally, hadn't felt sorry. As soon as he saw me come back, he immediately went out and bought a lot of food, saying that he wanted to celebrate. I watched him busy around. Every time I wanted to talk about the serious matter, he deliberately avoided it. I could only sigh. In the evening, we had a reunion dinner. He looked at me with hope. I've tidied up the room. You can wash up and go to sleep. And he got up to clean up the dishes. I stopped him. Let's talk. River's figure froze for a moment. But he still sat down silently. I said, let's get a divorce. Actually, I should have said this sentence 10 years ago. But how could I let him off easily? Not to mention whether he would agree to a divorce 10 years ago. Even if we really got divorced. Should I leave and let him marry Snow? Dream on. I originally thought it would take a lot of talking to persuade River to get a divorce. But unexpectedly, although he was silent for a moment, he agreed. But he had one request, which was to let me stay at home for one night. I was originally going to stay in a hotel. But staying at home for one night was okay. I could just spend some time with the two children. Although in the previous life they resented me. After all, they were my own flesh and blood. In this life, although I can't be with them all the time, I will still fulfill my responsibilities. The next day, after River and I completed the formalities, I was about to leave directly. Luna. River couldn't help but call out to me. I turned around and saw tears glistening in the corners of his eyes. I'm sorry. Although this sentence was said a lifetime too late, I still accepted it. After going back, I threw myself into my work wholeheartedly. 8 years later, I received a text message from my son. He said he was going to get married and asked if I could attend his wedding. I saw that my work had come to a certain stage, so I agreed. Over the years, I still sent money home every month. Even after he and my daughter became adults, I gave each of them a house. On the day of the wedding, he and his daughter-in-law proudly introduced me to everyone. This is my mom. She is a very great person. I, and my family, are all proud of her. Coincidentally, an interview with our research team by the official media was shown on TV some time ago. And everyone's eyes were on me. My son and daughter also looked at me proudly and excitedly. I looked at River, who had overworked himself all these years for the children and for his parents. Now he didn't have the high-spirited look of the previous life at all. In the previous life, I was there to support him, so he advanced all the way. With the beauty by his side, his career was going smoothly. But in this life, without me, he was like a bird with its wings cut off, pulled down from the mid-air. It wasn't just me who pulled him down. There were also his children. His parents. All these years, even after the divorce, he couldn't find a suitable partner while raising two children. Even because of his poor health, he retired early. Before retirement, he didn't even become an office director. And because of me, the children not only graduated from prestigious universities and had successful careers but also had very happy marriages. Although I wasn't by their side, they always thought I was great. Even complaining that if it weren't for their father's infidelity, I wouldn't have left. And they wouldn't have grown up without motherly love. River once said that he didn't cheat. But the things he did in the previous years, the neighbors had told the children countless times. The fact that he was sorry for me had long been deeply rooted in the children's hearts. Even after my children got married, I still didn't live with them. Even after I retired, I led my own little life. They have hoped countless times that I could live with them, saying they could take care of me. But I refused every time. I know that they want me to live with them. On the one hand, perhaps they want to be filial. But I think, most likely, it's still for my money. Because when they were studying, I paid for their expenses. When they got married, I paid for it. Even for the houses they got when they married, I bought each of them a set. But that's all I could do. After that, I didn't give them a single penny. I think I have fulfilled my obligation. After all, although I have let go of the harm they did to me in the previous life, I still can't completely forget it. Going our separate ways and being well is the best outcome. As for my old age, I have dedicated my whole life to the Research Institute. And the Research Institute has long found best nursing home for me. Not only are the facilities complete, but there are also dedicated people to take care of me. Even if I want to travel around the beautiful land of our country, it's possible. Because I have money. The only thing that troubles me is that after I moved into the nursing home, my son and daughter come to visit me every now and then with my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. The grandchildren are very close to me. Although I have some estrangement with my children, I have no issues with the grandchildren. If they want to come, I welcome them. If they don't come, I never take the initiative to ask them to come. On the weekend, my son and daughter brought the whole family to visit me again. They were also carrying a big double-layer cake in their hands. Just when everyone was singing the birthday song for me, I saw my son answer a phone call. Seeing that his face looked strange, I asked him what was wrong. My son put away his phone and shook his head. "It's nothing. Mom. You make a wish first." Later I found out that the phone call my son received was from the hospital. River had a cerebral hemorrhage and was rushed to the hospital. And my son insisted on finishing my birthday before rushing to the hospital. When he arrived, River had already passed away. River Chen didn't earn much money during his lifetime. This emergency treatment almost used up all the retirement funds he had saved. My son and daughter each also contributed more than 10,000 yuan. There was still a lot of money needed for the funeral. Finally, having fulfilled my obsession, they decided to keep everything simple. On the third day, his ashes were buried in the cemetery. The children asked me if I wanted to go and see him off. I shook my head. In my opinion, at the moment when I picked up my luggage and stepped out of the house decades ago, River was actually already dead. His life had nothing to do with me. Now that he's really dead, what does it have to do with me? After handling the funeral, my son brought me a letter, saying that it was left for me by their father, River. After my son left, I quietly looked at the letter for a long time. Suddenly, I sneered. When I got up, I threw the letter into the trash can. People's lives. They are full of ups and downs. Gain little, lose much. There are many troubles and few things that go as one wishes. But how to live? In what way to live? All depend on ourselves. The end.